Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am S. Prabhakar from the Delhi Entertainer. Today, I'll be discussing about nepotism in Indian film industry and especially in Bollywood on the background of alleged suicide by Sushant Singh Rajput. Over the last 40 days, all the channels, especially Arnab Goswami of Republic, have covered this topic so extensively as if nothing else is happening in India. People like Arnab have forgotten about coronavirus, about China aggression, and all other things, especially economic slowdown. It is Rajput, Rajput, Rajput all the way. And one of the most important things which have been highlighted and criticized is the practices of nepotism in Bollywood, and it has been attributed to be the main reason for the circumstances leading to the death of Rajput. Where there is no nepotism, a lawyer wants his son or daughter to be a lawyer, a CA wants his child to be a CA, and what is wrong when an actor wants his child to be an actor? When we are practicing any profession, naturally our children get attracted seeing us in the house and how successful we are in that profession, and general tendency is that our children also follow us. And if we are in our own practice like a lawyer or a doctor or a chartered accountant, it is but natural you will induct your child into the practice. At that time there may be many other seniors in your firm, but your child will join as a partner. So what is wrong with that? After all, it is your own business which you have set up, with your hard work. You toil for that, and it is but natural that your son or daughter will join it and take over it from you. Then why should we expect Bollywood to be different? If you are an actor and a successful actor at that, your children grow up seeing you, and there is an atmosphere of films all the way at the home. So they definitely develop a taste for it, and many of them would like to join the film industry. When they want to join in the film industry, as a parent, what is your responsibility? Are you not expected to help them out? Either with your own money, if you have your own banner, or your friend or a director or a producer with whom you have long association, they are going to launch the child. Then even in that, let me tell you, nobody is doing any charity. Today a successful actor or actress's child is introduced, it is a big plus to the producer from the point of view of a initial publicity. That why to blame actors, producers, directors or Bollywood in general? What about blaming the audience? We also lap up, right from Prithvi Raj Kapoor introducing Raj Kapoor, Raj Kapoor introducing his three sons, now Rishi Kapoor introducing his son, and if you go down south, NTR, ANR, Krishna, Shivaji Ganeshan, and the list goes on. All of them have introduced their sons mostly, and few of them have introduced their daughters also. And good 70 to 80% of them are all successful. So there is a good probability that an actor or actress's child will do well, and that is the expectation. So it is but natural the producers will line up to introduce the star kids. It has been there for the last 50 years. It is going to be there in future as well. But I don't think it can be made out to be such a huge issue as if it is a crime to introduce actors' sons and daughters in the film industry. Even while introducing also, it is not necessary that all of them will be successful or all of them will be given opportunities for more than a reasonable number of times. Let us take example of Raj Kapoor. Raj Kapoor has introduced all his three sons. Ranbir Kapoor is a moderate success. Chintu was a great success. He had almost 50 years of very successful filmy career. And Rajiv Kapoor is an utter flop. He hardly worked in 4 movies. After that, with all the legendary status of Raj Kapoor at the back of him, also didn't help him to establish himself as a successful actor. So just introduction or financing or getting the films financed in the initial stages is not enough. To be successful, one has to prove his worth, whether you are a star kid or no star kid. But having said that, even if you put all the star kids together, how many movies they act in? Not more than 20-25%. And what about 75% of the movies? More than 75% of the movies are made with those actors, actresses and other character actors and comedians and villains who have no connection with film industry at all. And at every time, along with the star kids, there are other people who are equally successful as the star kids. Right from Raj Kapoor. If there is a Raj Kapoor, along with there was a Devanand and Dilip Kumar, who didn't belong to a filmy family. If there are Rishi Kapoors and Ranbir Kapoors, you have Dharmendra's, Rajesh Khanna's and even Amitabh Bachchan, who doesn't belong to the film industry. Later on, people like Govinda and Mithun Chakravarti, who had an extremely modest background. Govinda used to stay in a small chal of one room, and Mithun Chakravarti was reported to be sleeping on the footpath, and he was a Naxalite with some criminal cases against him. He came to Bombay, he proved his worth, he went on to become a very successful star. At one point of time, I think couple of years, he was one of the highest income tax paying Bollywood actor, and he not only was successful commercially, he went on to win many national awards as well. So he is not a star kid. So to put the blame entirely on so-called nepotism is wrong. After all, a producer who is pumping in hundreds of crores of rupees, or even if it is a low budget movie, something like 50 to 60 crores, he has every right to take a decision as per his prudence. How Arnab Goswami is running his channel, Republic, does he run it the way he wants, or does he run the way other anchors in other channel want him to run? So why Arnab Goswami or other media people expect the Bollywood to run the way they want it to be run? Who is going to fund the project? Nowadays, every movie is costing anything above 70 to 100 crores. Managing 100 crores is not so easy. And that 100 crores you are putting into a movie, then you will make all the possible efforts to see that it has celebrity. If a star kid is a celebrity, let that be. Nobody can deny them the right to choose the actors of their liking choose the topics of their liking and the way they want to produce a movie within the parameters of the censor board. We are nobody only because somebody unfortunately has taken a decision to commit suicide. We cannot blame the system entirely that this system should not be run this way. Are they doing charity that everybody who wants to become an actor and comes to Mumbai, you keep distributing the number of movies which are to be made? Okay, this will be acted by Sushant, this will be by somebody else, this will be somebody else. Is it a government scheme? Producing a movie is not a government scheme. It is a prudent commercial decision made by a producer who has all the right to make a decision of his liking. What actually is more important, which has been missed out by many channels including Arnab Goswami, is that, which I feel more dangerous trend than the so-called nepotism which has been discussed so much, is the marketing mafia of the movies, where the malady more lies is when small producers make movies with small actors with good content. Unfortunately, because of, I don't blame nepotism also there, whether nepotism or no nepotism, I am talking about top producers and top actors. They have a cartel. So quite possible that they may belong to a family, right? So what happens is that whenever movies are lined up for releases, when there is a huge marketing wars, it is the top producers of movies starring top stars who get the chunk of the theaters for release. This is where actually the small producers and small actors suffer. If you see Telugu film industry, there are 5 families which literally control the entire Telugu film industry. Then all put together, there are about 8 to 10 actors from those families. And every month if you take a movie of theirs, each one of them, that means your 10 months have gone. So for 10 months, it is so difficult to manage good number of theaters in Andhra Pradesh for exhibiting the movies of small producers featuring small actors. It's also the same way in Bollywood as well. If you see any movie, good, bad, worse, movie of Salman Khan releases anything above 4 to 5,000 screens. You go out to any corner of the city, any multiplex, you will find only the movie of Salman Khan when it releases. All the shows are grabbed by them. This actually creates a lot of problem for small producers and small actors and actresses. If at all something to be addressed and something to be really broken, it is this mafia of multiplex marketing of movies. So government should step in and control this, because it is definitely falls under the ambit of unfair and restrictive trade practices. But for that, as far as the nepotism or liking somebody or giving somebody an opportunity, or even strangely one of the channels, maybe most probably Arnab Goswami, is blaming that Sushant was booked in a movie, subsequently has been removed. It is so hyped up, so highlighted, as if this is happening for the first time. It always happens, all the time it happens. Very iconic movies and iconic roles. Let us take an example of Janjeer. Dharmender, Rajkumar and Devanand were considered and almost signed for the role of Janjeer. Ultimately, it came to the fall in the lap of Amitabh Bachchan. Let us take an example of a Gabbar Singh role. Right from Sunil Dutt, to Vinod Khanna, everybody was considered. Ultimately, Denny Danjappa was signed for that role. But because Danny was busy shooting in Afghanistan for Dharmatma, he excused himself from the movie, and then it came to Amjad Khan's Kitty, and rest is history. So it has been happening for ages. Reasons could be any. For somebody to be signed and to be replaced, there could be 100 reasons. So you cannot put a blame if Rajput was removed from one movie by one producer that he has abetted him to commit suicide. So I feel that this issue has been unnecessarily overhyped, and many things which are not so important has been discussed and put forth as the reasons for abatement. I feel abatement itself is very difficult to prove in this particular case. But having said that, I too feel sad about this demise. Not only is this demise, I can rattle some 20-25 names of Bollywood, Hollywood, Tollywood actors who have committed suicide at a very young age when they had a very extremely bright future. The reasons could be many, but one thing is very sure. I don't want to be critical of a departed soul, but everybody should take this as a lesson that every profession has a many professional occupational hazards. So whenever we enter into any profession, we should take cognizance of those occupational hazards and see whether we are mentally, physically tough or not to withstand those hazards and those tough calls, and see whether we fit in the bill or not to be there to strive, struggle and be successful. Film industry is such that each one will have a very big story of struggle all the way. Even the most successful actors like Amitabh Bachchan will also tell many stories of struggle. Hardly anybody has been there who said that it is a cakewalk for me all the way. So whether it is Sushant or anybody else who has entered the film industry should take into cognizance the huge pressures of proving not only once, all the time. You are maybe most successful actor, one or two movies flop, then you are out of reckoning. Best example is none other than so-called first superstar of Bollywood industry, Rajesh Khanna. Rajesh Khanna for 5 long years and 16 consecutive Silver Jubilee movies he has belted out. Then after that, what happened? Come 75, the Amitabh Bachchan has ascended and the descent of Rajesh Khanna has started. Is he not successful? Of course he was successful. He was still branded as the first superstar of Rajesh Khanna, and what sort of stories was told about his popularity, especially amongst the females. But his tenure is over hardly in 5-6 years. Come 75, he debuted in 69 and by 75 he is finished. And then he lived for about another maybe 20-25 years, struggling still to come back, and he made so many unsuccessful comebacks. So that is what life in film industry. So it is a real life, and very harsh and compared to a real life. So it is really a tough industry, and only the tough nuts should enter that industry and withstand all the pressures and be successful. So I, like any other person, would like to find the truth behind the death. If there is any foul play, definitely I want those people who are responsible to be brought to the book. But criticizing, nepotism or a group of people or a sect of people or producers, directors or successful actors, that they are giving break to the people whom they like is not really fair. So this is all for today. I, Prabhakar, sign off.